Mounts of Mayhem was revealed just 24 hours ago, but Mojang have been revealing new information ever since, including telling us that the Nautilus armor they did reveal will be coming in a Netherite version as well, and where both it and the zombie horse will be found in your world. Also, they've gone in depth into the fact that there will be new chaotic features, and so if you want to learn everything that Mojang just revealed, this is the video for it, because why is a zombie holding a spear in his left hand for Bedrock? Well, news this soon after live is a shock. But hello, I'm AbyaXToyCat, and this is the channel to get all the latest real Minecraft news as well as analysis of it, and I've got 6 big reveals to go into today, so let's get started with the first one, okay? This is obviously Nautilus armor, which was revealed at Minecraft Live, and it was kind of implied it'd be a lot like horse armor, except craftable, but what's interesting is they clarified in a Minecraft.net article that the Nautilus can be equipped with armor, but it will have 5 fashionable colors: copper, iron, gold, diamond, and netherite. This is a huge reveal, not just because it's not going to come in leather, like horse armor, but also because netherite armor is not that much better than diamond for players. It's slightly better at knockback and slightly better for super high damage, but is netherite Nautilus armor actually going to be worth it? Well, what's interesting is the second reveal here kind of goes into that a little bit, because something they didn't tell us at Minecraft Live was where you would find it or how you would craft it, and it seems as though it's not going to be crafted from Nautilus shells, despite looking a lot like one, but instead they say keep your eyes peeled in the hunt for chests, as that's where you'll find it. So it does sound as though we're going to be finding all 5 tiers of Nautilus armor in chests, presumably underwater ones, but that means that maybe for the first time you'll be able to find actual netherite in the overworld. This of course sounds entirely bonkers, and so to me, I would take it as there is either a brand new structure at the bottom of the oceans they just haven't announced yet, that's not confirmed but it's my reading of it, or indeed that maybe they will put them in the nether, but why would there be Nautilus armor in the nether? There's lots of questions which clearly we're going to get some answers for, but any way they answer that is going to be hugely interesting, and so that is the second very fun reveal. The third fun reveal is one that I've seen in quite a few places. It's Minecraft's own thumbnail for the big moments of Minecraft Live, and as you can see in this thumbnail, there is a zombie holding a spear in his left hand. This is an intriguing decision because mobs on Bedrock can only hold weapons in their right hand, and they can only hold very limited items in their left, and obviously weapons aren't one of them, and so is this a sign that the combat and ocean drop is going to bring offhand support to Bedrock, and therefore the full combat? I would love to say the answer is yes, and I'm sure if I was a different YouTuber, I'd make an entire video about how this is a sign, and I really want it to be one, but I felt almost certain the reason this must be is not some big reveal they've accidentally done a thumbnail, but that they must have just flipped it and not realized that that was a big change, and so I went looking for this original image, and lo and behold, I found it in the Unveiling Mounts of Mayhem article on Minecraft.net, and here is the exact same zombie on the same zombie horse with the same spear. I think they flipped it without realizing the repercussions of that action. Next up though, speaking of zombie horses, in this exact same section, we got a huge reveal about the zombie horses. Although they are coming to survival, they didn't detail exactly how you'd find them, just that there would be zombies on top of them, and they've actually explained right here that just like zombies, zombie horses don't like the sun, confirming they will only spawn at night, and also confirming that these zombie horses will spawn naturally in savanna and plains biomes, and they come in a lovely undead green color. That means that if you want to find these mobs, you won't find them everywhere, but you will find them in those 2 biomes that you would usually find horses, but that also means that a plains and savanna biome, probably the 2 best biomes for building in, are the ones that are going to get specifically more dangerous. So if you build in a forest or a jungle, you have no fear about this guy, but if you build in the flatlands, then you might get killed by a zombie riding a horse. Is this a good decision? I think it's a very interesting one, but let's speak about the next one here, because the spear was revealed at Minecraft Live to have 2 attacks, and they really dove deep into the second attack, which is the charge attack, so you can get on a mount and you can charge into enemies, and the faster you go, the more damage you do. And again, they spoke about this endlessly at Minecraft Live, so I'll just assume you know enough about it. It's very fun in my opinion that they're trying to reinvent the mace but sideways, but they didn't really talk about the second attack, the jab attack. But what's interesting is this is mirrored in the Minecraft.net article, but only mostly. So to read it out to you, master the charge attack, which with some careful positioning you can use to knock foes from their mounts, or use its jab attack to when afoot to keep foes at a distance as you deal damage, or hop atop your favorite steed to test your spear's damage scaling with your velocity. So So that's literally 12 words about the jab attack before going on to talk about the charge attack again, and we have this one image of someone doing it, but together they paint a very interesting picture, which it sounds like is going to be a new attack to keep foes at a distance, and that is something that really sounds a lot like how the combat update was going to have different ranges for different weapons. Is the spear going to be a longer range melee weapon? I think it must be, because think about it, you can't have the spear do the same damage as a sword. It uses one fewer ingots, we've seen the crafting recipe, and so it has to deal less damage. What's going to be the trade-off? Well, either the charge attack is going to be so good you'll use it just for that, or it'll be a better weapon at keeping enemies at bay. And so is this going to be a new combat triangle forming? Well, that's hard to say, but what is interesting that you might not have heard is that this is the first new tiered weapon in 15 years. But wait a second, I hear you asking, what exactly is a tier? Is it like how Christmas trees have tiers? Mine is beautiful, by the way. No, here is the explanation that Mojang gives in the article. Tiered is a type of gear that comes in different forms, every type in fact, and so there is no wooden and diamond crossbow. There's just a crossbow, there's just a trident, there's just a mace, but as you can see by looking at this fun chart, we're actually going to have a bunch of different spears based on every single type that exists, and it's actually even more fun than that because the Copper Age drop, coming out just 2 days from now by the way, that's one to be excited for, is going to bring us all 5 types of tool, including a copper hoe, which is the newest tiered tool they've added to Minecraft. That was back in 2010, and then when they bring out the spear, that will come in all 7 variants, and that is a huge reveal in my opinion, which is fun by itself. I'm sure you all pictured it, but again, I think the really exciting thing that I went into detail yesterday about is the fact that they've said for the first time ever, this is going to be a tool that obviously will get stronger as you go through each of the tiers, but interestingly, the Netherite spear will have less of a, less time in its charge attack than the wooden spear, and so it's going to be the first time that instead of just getting objectively better, there are some ways that it actually gets worse, and this is so crazy and interesting in my opinion, which is why it's so exciting to stay tuned for those snapshots and previews, which, by the way, they hinted were coming fairly soon, but they just put out another short on their YouTube channel where they said that you'd be able to test the Nautilus soon, and then they have this big coming soon text on the screen. In my opinion, this means that we're not going to be waiting weeks, but instead we might be waiting literally days. I think this would be a flaw if Mojang did it this way, but it could literally be that the day after the Copper Age comes out, 2 days from now, it could be that on Wednesday we get our first snapshots and previews for the Mounts of Mayhem drop. I would recommend, if I was in charge, I would put it like a week later, give people a week to enjoy the new drop before moving on to the next one, but I think that it's highly likely they don't do that. But technically, that is just speculation, and speaking of speculation, a lot of people have been saying, I've seen a lot of negativity around this drop, amongst people saying, like, yeah, that's everything they've got for the entire winter drop, this sucks, and this could technically be true. Minecraft didn't promise anything else in the show, but they did, at the very bottom here, promise that there would be other features, so they said that now you know about all the features we showed at Minecraft Live, but it won't end there. There are more features to come that will really put the mayhem in Mounts of Mayhem. And this is exactly what I love to hear, confirmation that there'll be more than we saw at Minecraft Live, and that there'll be more fresh surprises during the course of the Mounts of Mayhem drop, which, just to remind you, this is going to be one of the shortest drop cycles we've had. They have just 2 months now, October and November, to add everything we saw at Minecraft Live and then all these fun bonuses, and then to get it fully bug tested, fully feedbacked and iterated on, and then after the end of November, they won't have any time left, because even if they push it to the very end of December, say December 23rd, that still means we have roughly 8 snapshots and previews to get everything in there, including these new features. So what are they going to be? Well, they say these new features will really put the mayhem in Mounts of Mayhem. To me, I really get vibes of like, yes, this is going to be chaotic features, but what do you take this to mean? I want to hear your thoughts, because for now, it's time to give our conclusion and analysis. Rather than just spewing Minecraft news at you, I want to give you my real thoughts on what all of this means. So first of all, it's really cool to see this new Nautilus armor. I'm very shocked that it doesn't come in leather, and I'm extra shocked that it comes in Netherite too. I'm really surprised to learn that this mob is being added to the game with pufferfish as its favorite food. This is indeed very deadly to most aquatic life, including Nautiluses in the real world. So are they going to change course on that? We've got 8 weeks to find out. It's nice to know that the zombie horse will spawn in plains and savannas. They're some of my favorite biomes, and now there's another reason to be there, and another reason to fear them. It's really, really interesting to learn that the spear will be useful outside of its weird charge attack, because the problem with the mace was it was too much of a gimmick. It was really fun when you could pull off those giant jumps, or if you you used Windburst on it, but ultimately it just wasn't that useful as a regular weapon with its mere 5 damage and its tiny durability. So if the spear can solve that problem by having a useful everyday attack with that fun little extra bit of range in exchange for less damage, but then also having that really weird quirk, it means that you could use it on a day-to-day basis while still keeping it in the pocket for when you had this perfect moment when you were on your horse or your Nautilus, and that is what I think that they are going to learn from 1.21. And so yeah, I have a lot of excitement for how this is going to go down. It sounds as though we're going to be able to test these features very soon, and that's when we're going to find out the real power of them. But I have one big beg for the Minecraft community more broadly, and that is please don't yell that this is overpowered, because if you put it in these super niche, hyper, ultra rare conditions, it can theoretically do 80 damage. It's like, yeah, maybe that is true, but I think the real care, especially when it comes to single player people like myself, I think the real care for the spear should be, is it overwhelmingly better than a sword? If so, it's overpowered. Is it in a niche place where it's sometimes pretty good, sometimes really, really good? Then I think that's a fair power balance for it to be at. And so if I have one big request, it would be that. And if I have one hope from everything we've seen, it's the fact that Mojang are going to innovate more in the oceans, and indeed maybe innovate more of the combat, both things that have a really nice scratch of the surface here, but both of which could do with something a little more. Maybe a brand new ocean biome, and maybe, you know, a little bit more of a combat overhaul. But to avoid sounding like a broken record, I'll say the same thing I say at the end of all of my videos, because you can subscribe to this channel if you really liked it, turn on those notifications if you really, really liked it, and for now, I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday for the Copper Age. It's coming real soon. I'm excited. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!